Shalom Aleichem, brothers and sisters. How are you? This is Brother Uriyah Baraka. I hope I'm your brother. We're going to continue with the teachings, The Kingdom Within, Part 2. We want you to know that we do this because we feel that it is necessary. We need to grow up. We need to really gain a communion with Yahuwah. And because I use the word communion, don't say I'm a Catholic, let's not go there. But I mean a relationship with Yahweh that brings forth the revelation of His word and not just the repetition of the letter. The letter is good. It is our first understanding of the word, but as we proceed forth, we need to get into a more internal understanding of the word. Yeshua said that the kingdom of Elohim was within you. Elohim is spirit, therefore He relates to your spirit. It is the first principle. Your spirit, and the nature of your spirit, is the thing that Yahweh wants first to cleanse. So we dealt the first two verses, we seen the process of purification of the Adamah, to breathe into the nostrils, the perception, to enlighten man, and to bring him into a life of purification through the obedience of truth, to disesteem him of the pride of arrogance that in many cases keep us separated from our Creator. And in that separation, we, clothe ourselves with a lot of leaves of fleshly doctrines and make a religion using the word only to justify our fleshly doctrines and never progress into the full and absolute will in which Yahweh has called us for in the Messiah, Yeshua. Yeshua came to deliver man from lawlessness. That is, to bring man out of a state of kata, that is, a state that has fallen below the standard of Yahweh's righteousness, back into a fulfillment of His righteousness, and in that fulfillment, an agreement of life that brings us into a relationship of justification, innocence, a relationship of oneness with Yahweh. Let them be one as we are one. Let them share in the partaking of the divine nature. So, as we move into this study, we're going to be dealing with concepts that I know that many will reject, and that's okay, because I'm going for the few. I never go for the many. I never follow the multitude and false reports and theories and opinions and political conspiracies. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in building the kingdom of Elohim, in seeding that kingdom as it is established within us. And we're going to proceed in understanding that the kingdom is established through divine action. We only cooperate with that divine action. Therefore, we have the instruction of the scriptures that was given to the prophets to give us the understanding of how to cooperate with this divine action. We see that the divine action in the previous study, we see that there is a vivification of the soul to an existence that is called living. Whereas when the soul is in separation from Yahweh, it is called dead. So Paul, or Saul the apostle, said, "You He has made alive, who were dead in trespasses, pesha, rebellion, revolt against divine authority." trespasses and sin, a quality of life that is unable to fulfill the righteous requirements of Yahweh. Kata is not just an action, it is a condition, as said, an existence that is unable to fulfill the standard of Yahweh's righteousness. We need to get this in our head. We, in our own nature, the earthly nature, cannot fulfill the standard of spiritual nature. So we have to be transformed. We have to be purified. We have to be yatsar, molded and fashioned into a pattern by which we are able to receive divine nature. This is what the apostle, Kepha, that through the promises of the new covenant we are made partakers of divine nature. Okay? So this is what we want to prepare ourselves for, to be receptive of divine nature, and we can only do that by the obedience of the truth, and his truth is the commandments. All truth is contained in the commandments. This must be perfectly understood. All truth is contained within Torah, but it must be revealed, because it was given to us in a form of knowledge that was to awaken us first in our natural mind and then transferred into spiritual rational enlightenment. This is why we need to live in a certain way by which this spiritual enlightenment can take place. We can't live in the culture and by the rhythms of the culture of the Rashim and think that we're going to accomplish that. We have to get rid of their cultural foundation and reestablish ourselves on a spiritual, moral foundation, a morality that derives from the divine revelation contained in Torah. So we understand that at the end of this vitalizing process of purification, man becomes a soul of life, having peace with his Creator, and absent of all yitzhara, that is, inclinations of evil, or concupiscence, evil desiring, gossiping, hatefulness. And some people think I'm into the race hate thing simply because I point out the evils of supremacist culture. Well, I do that because Elohim is love, and he that loveth cannot hate. The effects of hate upon mankind is death, and the history of supremacist culture has proven overwhelmingly that he that hated is a murderer. So I'm going to always speak against it, but not in the prejudice of race, because I don't even believe in race. Okay? It's a false ideal. I only believe in truth. Okay? But concupiscence retards our relationship with Elohim. Being a living soul and becoming a living soul through the process of purification through the obedience of truth, we become a kingdom. That means a form of order is established in us by which we can receive divine nature, and from that reception begin to manifest the deity of Elohim in accordance with the will of the Father. Let's not think that we can receive the divine nature and then continue in the pattern of Goyim culture, I do what I want to do, exemplifying the arrogance of pride. So now we move on, and we move on to the scripture verse that shows us the establishment of order. Okay? In the Genesis language, it is called the Gan. Gan, garden, means a system of order. All things that is said after identifying the Gan shows the order that proceeds from it. That is how this order works within us to keep us in a state and to preserve us in a state of divine quality. So here it says, and we'll read it first in the Hebrew and go through and break words. If you got a Hebrew Bible, follow along. Genesis 2. Ve'eta Yahweh Elohim be'heden mim kedim ve'yasim sham at ha'adam et shir yatsa. So this verse is very important to understand, so I'm going to slow down here. Since it disagrees with the standard version of the English, KJV, or any of them, the translation we have chosen, we believe, show the truth of this verse. We don't depend on anyone else's translation. We study for ourselves, exegese the words for ourselves, and come up with what we feel as guided in prayer, a translation that reveals the light of Yahweh's will. So it says in translation, and seated Yahweh Elohim, the Adam, with the order from Hayden, from the Kadim, and he ordered, established, and ordained there the Adam who was formed, who was developed, who was made into an organized organ of reception. So first let us look at the word nata or eta, meaning to plant, seed, or stock. So we translate the word seed because it is in congeniality with the teachings of Yeshua, who said that he plants the seed in good soil. So this seeding process, when you plant a garden, flowers grow. Winter comes, the garden dies, so you reseed it. See, this seeding process is eternal. It's not something that just happens one time. I'm saved, I'm going to heaven, and you continue living in the life of the flesh, thinking that you're saved by some ridiculous, vicarious sacrifice ideal that has been given to you by the Rashim. So it says that Yahweh Elohim seeded and seeded Yahweh Elohim. Okay? Matthew 13:8. Also where it says Mikadim, we understand that the meme prefix means from and has a prepositional usage. So it is not, as it is written in the English, in Eden. No, it doesn't say that. It said mim kadim, from Eden. That means something was coming from Eden, not in Eden, as if it's a geographical location, which a lot of people are still searching for. I guarantee that you won't find it. Okay? It's not Beth. Beth is in. The Beth prefix before the root word would be in, from, in with rather, and that's not how it's written, so that's a false translation. Therefore, the English version is faulty. Now, the term seem, it means to ordain, establish something, and it is being established and ordained. So that which is coming from Eden is that which is being established and ordained in man. And that ordination is an eternal ordination, meaning that this is what I want. This is what your Creator is saying. This is where I want you. This is the condition I want you in. This is what I prefer for you. So I ordain this. Anything less than this is not acceptable within my kingdom. So it's not just to put man in a geographical location. That's not what it's talking about. But rather in a position, in a quality of life in which is a order existent that Adam was formed in. It is a position of life, a quality of life that came forth from Eden, from the Kadim east, a habitation of the Elohim. It is a metaphor representing the heavens. That's why Israel was commanded to pray towards the east, because it represents the habitation of things that are divine. Okay. So it was just not to put us in a geographical setting, but rather in a position and a quality of life within the order of existence that the Adam was formed in. Seeing the Adam with seating the Adam with the supreme intelligence of the order, Gan, the order of the divine that was from the Kadim, habitation of Elohim, the east. That was in Eden. Eden means delight, happiness. That comes from divine good, the divine good of divine nature that is now being established in the Adam. Thus, Edom corresponds to a condition within the nature vessel, or the proper word, the ontological vessel of the Adam, which condition is a condition that produces happiness from the divine good that emanates from the divine nature. And the divine nature has its origin in Elohim, not in things of the earth, not in human nature. Human nature is merely a vessel of the divine. It has no innate divinity. And for those who are running around teaching we are gods and goddesses and all this fantasy stuff, without proper knowledge and the understanding of the science of spirituality. These concepts are not unique to the Word, though they are revealed in the Word. Even in Misram, they called men Neturu, mighty ones, who were highly advanced in spiritual science. They understood. And it's easy for us to fall into a thing that you read something and then appropriate it to yourself without understanding the standard by which you appropriate it. You don't just say, I'm Elohim. You have the potential of becoming Elohim. And in that potential, you have a responsibility. Keep the commandments and the testimony of Yeshua. Live within my will. Emanate my name, character, and reveal it in the earth. So Elohim is the life of heaven. And heaven is the habitation of the divine. So if Elohim inhabits you, then heaven is in you. So the east is called the Kadim, a metaphor of heaven, the habitation of Elohim. Thus it was commanded of the children of Israel to pray towards the east, because the direction corresponds to the habitation of Elohim, his dwelling, from where all good of the divine nature flow into man who live from the intelligence of divine order. This intelligence is called truth, which order is the inner reality of the commandments and the tabernacle pattern that I spoke to you about just a moment ago. When you see the tabernacle pattern, you see the Elohim pattern, the pattern of divine order in which is present the holies of holies, the divine nature from which all things of the divine emanate. And it is by this order and pattern we are to approach Elohim to procure purification and the ordination and reception of divine nature. In this reception, we become Elohim. We're not born into the nature of Elohim except by his Spirit. This needs to be respected. This needs to be perfectly understood so that we can get rid of all these foolish doctrines that has entered the movement. It's just in the last 5 years or so that all this wild and wacky stuff, other than the previous wild and wacky stuff that many mature who were trying to correct, but you just seem like you can't get to it. But we're going to get to it now, because it's time for the sons of Elohim to manifest in the earth and to take down the systems of the Rashim. So, this order and pattern, we are to approach Elohim for reception of all that is good and true unto fullness from the Kadim, the place of the divine. Thus it says that Yahweh Elohim Yashim Sham, established and ordained there the Adam. The Adam in this position of relationship with the divine to preserve within him the divine order, Gan, the garden. The garden is within you. The garden, the intelligence, the life, the fruit, the herbs of wisdom are manifested from the divine nature into the earth, the mind, the cognitive organism through which there is manifestation of character, of intelligence, of wisdom, and action. You see, this is a logical process. So it is with us today. Paul taught we have been preordained into adoption. That means you are brought into a kinship, though in your previous state you were not akin. We have been adopted from the name of the flesh, the character of the flesh, and brought into the character and quality of divine nature, which gives us kinship with our Creator. Paul knew what he was talking about. No, he wasn't a false prophet. You just don't understand what he teaches. And that's why you're still trying to find the divine nature or trying to find relationship with Elohim through these rituals, separated from divine revelation. We need to grow up. So we have been preordained into the adoption, a new position of kinship as children. Yeladim, by Yeshua the Messiah, the Elohim. Such was the position of the first Adam, a position we should be seeking first in our relationship with Yahuwah. Now, I don't mean to be mean or to be critical, but it is written so plainly, these 2 points in the prophets. I will plant my heavens. I will seed eta, nata, hashamayim. Okay. Where you think he's seeding shamayim? In you. Yeshua in the Basarab says it this way. The kingdom of Elohim is within you. Kaifa, not Paul, Kaifa said, through these precious promises, we are made partakers of divine nature. Genesis says it this way, that he breathed in us the breath of life. And from the Kadim, he puts in us Hedan, a symbol, a metaphysical explanation of divine nature, that good, that delight, that brings forth the Gan, the garden of knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and fruitfulness of character that is congenial with the quality of divine nature. Now we are acceptable. Okay. Now we have become a complete ideal that Yahweh ordained man to be, and placed us in this position, which through our arrogance of pride we lost. Now we want to regain it. Okay? And we can't regain it playing the games of theology, if you wish to call it even theology. I don't call it theology. I say that just to be nice. Okay? But I know that when people have truly received power, inspiration, and truth, there is activity. It produces action. It produces zeal. It produces organization. It produces rank and order. It produces a nation. And the fact that we are so comfortable in our confusion would make one doubt whether there is a true, unique, spiritual, transforming experience taking place in those that call themselves Messianic Hebrews or Torah Hebrews. Something ain't right. Because the Goyim are asking, where is your El? We got you in bondage and you can't do nothing. You can't build nothing. You don't even support each other. You leave each other hanging. You argue with each other. You debate with each other. You negate with each other. You minimize each other. You have no desire for organization and unity and empowerment. Where is your El? See, that's the question the world is asking. Where is your El, all you Israelites? Why can't you break the chains we got over your neck? Why can't you break the chains that binds your productiveness? Why isn't Yahweh blessing the work of your hands? Why you got no finances to feed your poor, no institutions to educate your children. Where is your L? Because L means power. Where is your power to do anything? From what we can tell, you're just putting Hebrew over the same slave doctrine we gave you 400 years ago. Wait. One day, God gonna come and deliver you. Where is your L? Is the kingdom, the sovereignty, the dominion of Elohim being established in you? I can't tell. See, that's what the Goyim is saying. I know that's what he's saying. That's why many people is leaving the movement, which is sorrowful. And for those that actually cut this message on and hear it, let it be a message to you. Let this question resonate through your soul. Where is your power to build, to support, to encourage those that are trying and making effort to overcome us? We ain't worried about them. They ain't got your back. Where is your L? Just a personal message that I'm leaving. Personal questions, thoughts, inquiries, I know I'm going to be criticized because I'm not talking pretty words. I never do. Never have. And never will. The kingdom of Elohim is within you. A very simple concept. We'll go on to part 3 and finish up. So that we can understand this revelation. Part 3 will be a little longer, but I'm going to finish up in 3 parts. I'm not going to procrastinate. And for those that actually listen to this message, I hope it edifies you. I hope it incites you to action, incites you to prayer. I hope you will read the 2nd chapter of Yoel, the prophet, and I hope that you would see that it's speaking of you. And Yahweh needs and wants to gather his people at the sounding of the trumpet of truth. So I sound this trumpet. I sound this trumpet because I want Israel to truly live and to exemplify the power of Yahweh Elohim unto the liberation of the people, that we might rise up and be the holy nation that is prophesied and not a joke before the nations of the Goyim. Shalom Aleichem, brothers and sisters. One love.